So, Reverend Kristen asked me to talk with you about freedom today because I am an immigrant. I was not born in the United States. So, I have a question for you. What would life look like for you if you were not born in this beautiful United States? Where perhaps your voice wasn't welcomed, or your gender had limits, or your spiritual seeking had boundaries. Where would that look like? For me, my parents were bold, courageous, and they wanted to find something greater for their kids. I remember being a little girl and not seeing much of my dad. Not because he wasn't present, not because he didn't love us, but because he was holding down 3 jobs. And my mom tells the story of him padding newspaper and putting it at the sole of his shoes in order to have enough money to feed the 5 kids, have health care, and just keep us going. So he was bold, and he chose to come to these United States. And as my mom explained to me what was ahead, she said, we're going to the land of golden streets. And as a little girl, I remember actually looking for the gold. But the gold is here. It's just not in the streets, it's within. What would life have looked like for me? I often think if I had stayed home, if they had not decided to come here. Well, perhaps one or more of my brothers would have lost their lives because of the political unrest. When one of my brothers went back and visited, that was the fact for some of the people that were growing up with him. He looked them up, and they were not to be found. And I probably would not have been inspired to seek higher education and to build a career in finance and to go up the corporate ladder and to have the courage to divorce when I wasn't feeling fulfilled. Because what I had learned in my upbringing was to stay faithful to your marriage, and no matter what. So I also would not have explored spirituality the way I have. I wouldn't have the freedom to be here. I'm sure that there's women preachers back in Guatemala, but not with this message. I wouldn't be on this stage, no freedom to speak from my soul. No freedom to be here with unity, where all faiths, all paths, all dreams are well respected and loved. But I'm not here to tell you my story. I'm here to invite you into your own story. You see, in Guatemala, religious tradition is tightly woven with culture, with spiritual roles, and often by gender, by tradition, by expectation. So as a devout Catholic, which is how I grew up, right? And my heroines are my mom, my great aunt, my grandmother, because they taught me how to commune with Spirit, how to love God. And as I was living the reality of a Catholic woman here in the United States, I worshiped like they did. I was a devout Catholic. Praying the rosary. My mom still prays it twice a day, praying for all her little chicks and their welfare. And I honor that, right? I love that because it got me close to God. But as I was living that reality, there was something missing. I had questions. That's not all there is. And when I came to unity, those questions were answered. I think many of you can relate, right? Yeah. So I had never experience the level of spiritual freedom that we hold here. Because I was taught to honor a God outside of me, not inside. I would not have had the courage to lead, to be up here and speak, and to follow my intuitive voice. So even here in these United States, many people are externally free. But they're internally confined by the current events, by everything that is happening right now. The fear, the doubt, the worry, the belief that that's just the way it is. And we know that is not true. We have a higher truth. We hold a different light. So that's where I'm inviting you into. Because freedom isn't just a legal right. It's the power to choose. It's to think intentionally and to become who we are here to be created. We are the power. We are spiritual beings living this human experience. And divine lives within us, not outside of us. So now, science and religion or spirituality are coming together. I coincidentally saw something on TV where the Pope is hired an astronomer to be part of his venture, or I don't know what to call it, but part of his community. Because he knows that religion is behind that spirituality sense, and that science and religion are just meeting and learning from each other. I love that Pope. Many don't know the truth, that we can hold the frequency of gratitude like Laurel is sharing us, is inviting us to do. That we can hold the vibration of a higher way of being than what we're experiencing in the world. We have that power of the mind. But those of us who know it and live it have to share it. We have to share it. And we have to lead from it. So here at Unity, we know that thoughts are co-create with the divine. We know that, right? This country gave me that safety, but here is where I had that awareness that we are capable of co-creating life. So this is our moment. This point in time is our moment to really, really live from what we know, live from that truth of who we are. Right? Yeah. Let's sign up for that. Because we have that responsibility. Ability to respond consciously and to create the reality that we see. That freedom. The power to understand that what we reflect out comes right back at us. So using that power is true freedom. Knowing that power is within us, to understand that we can't continue to say the why me's or why is this happening. It is our time to act differently, be different, and do things differently. What a gift. What a gift we have. The sacred gift of knowing that all the answers are already within. It's simply up to us to be open to receive it, to listen to it, and to create the world that we want to live in. Our thoughts are creative, and we are the co-creators with the divine. Our lives are not just happening to us. We are shaping each moment. So when we align our thoughts, our decisions, our actions with the highest truth, we change our own lives. But we change the vibration of the planet in doing so. You know, there was a time when even in this land of freedom, I felt very powerless. I was diagnosed with a very rapidly growing cancer. It was breast cancer. And that was a moment in which I had a decision to make. Would I allow the circumstances of a diagnosis not allow me to grow and be who I was meant to be? So not allowing the circumstance, but actually taking that circumstance and transforming it into something different. Thoughts precede feelings. Feelings direct your actions, and actions determine the results. That's what we've learned here. That's what I teach as well. So I shifted my thoughts. I spoke affirmations. I chose gratitude every day. I owe gratitude, that vibration of gratitude, my life. Because that was a choice I consciously made on a daily basis. That no matter what was going on, I was going to be grateful. And every person can do that. Especially now. Because as Napoleon Hill said, every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries a seed of an equal and greater benefit. And I held on to that. I actually had it on a piece of paper as I was living the daily routines of cancer. That I knew that experience was something. And it has been. I am now working with cancer patients and giving them that freedom to think differently than the circumstances. But I often think, had I been born or stayed in Guatemala, would I have been able to do that? And likely not. So, making that different decision, showing up differently, to have that circumstance and not have that circumstance have me and think differently, is what we can all do. So instead of thinking chemo will deplete me, cancer will kill me, radiation will wear me down, I chose thoughts that were powerful, that were healing, that were gratitude. I had 16 rounds of chemotherapy. I had 2 surgeries, then 30 sessions of radiation. Someone asked me today, what is that? That's radiation. But in those 16 rounds of chemotherapy, that's 5.5 months. The last 12 months, the last 12 weeks of radiation, it was every week, Thursday at 10, 3 hours of infusion. And before taking in the infusion, they would take my blood to see if I was healthy enough to sustain the venom that was going to be put inside my body. But guess what? After the 16th round, my nurse turned to me astonished. And she said, look. And she had a piece of paper with my blood work. Look. Today is your 16th round, and your blood work today is better than when you first started. Amen. So who does that but somebody that holds a different vision than the circumstance that they're living? Right? And during those 10 months that I lived it is when I wrote this book. So if I did it, you can too, because this is our time. This is our time to show up. You know, we can throw a pebble in a pond, and there's the ripple effect, right? And that's who we are. We are that pebble. And that ripple effect of who we are and how we're showing up at this time is essential. Because we are called right now to do something much different than what we've been doing. The world is watching. Not the government or not the systems. But the spirit of the world is watching and asking us, what will you do with the freedom that you have? Justice Louis Brandeis said, the most important political office that is that of a private citizen. Who here holds that office? So let's get to work. Yeah. It's a sacred gift. It's a sacred gift. And we are at a crossroads right now of human existence. We are the awakened ones, the ones that can lead, the ones that can act. This is time to embrace that spiritual freedom that we have and to really help the country, to really help the world. And that next level of who we are becoming, you know, this is a personal thing for me. Not only because I'm an immigrant, because I have and I know of people, one specific young lady who is a DACA recipient. What that means is she came here when she was a little girl. Her mom was undocumented. And now she is the eldest of 5 girls, helping her mom raise the siblings. And as she goes off to work and she sits at her desk, she tells me that her heart aches. Her heart aches with fear. Fear that night, when she reports home and everybody's sitting at the table, there would be somebody missing. Because that person would be somewhere else, deported or at an ICE detention. I don't know. But who here holds that fear? None of us. I know I don't. But I can really, really have that compassion and that love for her and help her transform, help her and all of those people living that reality with how we are showing up right now. Many of us feel helpless. At the 9:30, a couple of people came to me and said, that was a great thing you said, because I really have not known how to show up, what to do. And this is how we can do it. Just being ourselves. Just doing what comes natural. Co-creating life. Holding the high watch for peace, love, and joy. We don't need a title. We don't need permission. We just need to choose. Albert Einstein said, you cannot solve a problem with the same level of thinking that used to create it. So let's solve the problem. Let's solve the problem. Let's do this thing. Each of you who choose to be here, you are seeking truth, growing in consciousness. But what will you do with what you're choosing? This freedom is not just for you. It's a tool. It's a tool. It's a calling, a vibration to help this world during this time. When we live freely, spiritually, emotionally, and creatively, we become the light bearers. We raise the vibration of our homes, of our communities, of the world. I honor my parents' journey. They brought me into safety. But I also celebrate the awareness of who I am and who I've become. And the awareness that I have, that each and every single one of you holds, that power. You are thinkers, you are feelers, you are choosers, you are creators. You are the seed and the sunlight. The question and the key: freedom lives not outside of you, but in who you choose to be. This morning I was inspired as I was showering, which often happens, to look up this quote from Viktor Frankl. And we know he was living through some tough times. He lived in the concentration camps and held a different story in his head. He said, between the stimulus and the response, there's a space. In that space is where the power to choose our response. In our response lies the growth and our freedom. So the story that I told you about the young lady has a personal relation to me, right? I know her, I feel for her. But I was so glad that this week I visited a nonprofit because I'm doing work with the cancer support community. And part of that was visiting another nonprofit. And they are holding this for their clients. Those same clients that we can help into that freedom that we're talking about. And that is, joy is resistance. Joy is resistance. So that is what they're passing down to their clients, to hold that joy, to hold the love, to be the light, despite of whatever they're doing. So if they can do it, we can do it. And we can join them in a citizens. That is our calling right now. That is where we can really live through the freedom of being spiritual beings, living this human experience. It doesn't mean that we can't feel the anger or the heartache. It's so important for our own well-being to feel it. But we can't pitch a tent there. We gotta get ourselves up and say, okay, I understand this human existence. Yeah, I feel the anger, I feel the fear, I feel the doubt, but I have a bigger role. I'm a leader in this I don't want to call it a battle because I'm not a warrior. I'm a love agent. Mother Teresa, who I have here, said that once she was asked not to participate in an anti-war demonstration. And she said she will never do that. But she will go to a pro-peace rally. So I'm not discouraging you from going out to the streets. I'm going along with you. But I'm also holding the torch. I'm also not making it a war. Send blessings to the administration. Send blessings to all the people that are not holding what we hold in our hearts, the love, peace, and joy that we want for the world. Because we know all that love is the light, and it overshadows any darkness. So, what are we going to do? Are we going to put on our peace warrior wear and use our spiritual tool? Who's with me? Please. So, yes. So may you treasure your freedom. Live from your soul and lead with the light that you carry. And may we together raise the vibration of the world to peace, love, and joy. Yes.